Good morning, Susan.
Hello, Pam. How are you?
It's good. It's good to talk to you again. So I was just reviewing our notes, our shared notes in Google Docs,
Okay.
and I noted that we found from our previous sessions that it would be helpful to have a few cleaning supplies on hand,
Mm-hmm.
microfiber cloth, trash can, etc. Have you had an opportunity to get those together this
Mm-hmm.
morning?
I've been keeping a little kit,
A
if
little
you
tote?
will.
Is it a little tote? Or
Yeah. Well, it's one of those Trader Joe's bags.
that's great.
Anyway, it's
That's
got the
great.
stuff in it.
Yeah, that's perfect. So we agreed to sort of a protocol for these calls, which is to set our goals for this session, which you
Okay.
had said you were a little unclear about. So we'll figure that out together.
So
Yeah.
here's the thing. One of my big things is I've got a bunch of stuff from my mom,
Mm,
and I need to get rid of it. And um,
that's
I
hard.
It is really hard. So my mom has been dead now for 7 years. Oh, the light is terrible, isn't it? Here, I'll turn this way. Is that
Yeah,
better?
that's better.
Better.
Yeah.
My mom has been dead for 7 years. And, I brought home some boxes and I said, okay, I will, over time, I will empty these boxes. And so here we are, 7 years later. They're still sitting there. And I have gone through, I've gone into them a few times and pulled out little things. But for some reason, well, not for some reason. I mean, we know why I haven't been able to do it. But, it's been a very difficult thing. And I'm just like, I need help. I need somebody to say, honey, you don't need that in your life anymore. Like, that can go away.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
just things that it's just really hard anyway. You
Well,
know
let
how it is.
me ask a couple questions. Are
Okay.
those boxes down where you are now, or are they
Yeah,
somewhere
they
else?
are. They're
Mhm.
actually down here in the basement, and that's part of the problem is that I want uh this downstairs room. I really want to be able to move some exercise equipment in here. Johnny and I want to be able to use it for exercise. But right now it's jammed up with, some of these boxes and things. And I can't get myself to go through them. I mean, I keep saying to myself, you could do it half hour at a time. And I just can't get myself to do it. So.
Well, here's the good news, Susan. The good news is that once we do some of it together, you'll get some criteria. You'll develop, we'll develop some criteria for what's important to you, and that's different
Mm-hmm.
for every person.
Right.
But, we'll figure out, this category of things I only need to keep two of or one of.
Right. Right.
And this category of things I really don't need to keep any of.
Right. Right.
And then the whole process just gets so much easier because you have principles to apply.
Yeah, I hope that's true.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
sounds good. It sounds true. Is that I have boxed those things from my mom up into discrete boxes,
Okay.
and I put labels on them so I sort of know what's in them. Some of them are just papers. I think I don't know. I'm having trouble. My mom wrote them, but they're actually troubling things to read. Um, because they reflect her poor mental health. And I can't decide if I want them to be there so my kids can understand how mentally ill she was, or if maybe it's just time for that to go away and for that not to be a sadness for anybody anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Well,
know.
if the kids were not a part of the equation, what would you do? That's one question.
If they weren't, I probably would discard them because of what I was saying. Like, I'm working really hard to change things, to think positively and not dwell on some of the negative things, and also not to pay that much attention, not to place so much attention on the past. I feel like I was taught specifically by my mother to pay a lot of attention to the past and to whatever bad things happen in the past. And I think it's time to stop doing that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, I'm really making an effort. You know, I limit what I read in the newspaper. I limit the bad things that come in.
Yeah.
You know,
and as a scientist, you know that there is actual proof and good reason for that.
Absolutely. I mean, it's
not just avoidance. It's
no, and you know, and that's why I'm saying I'm judicious. I mean, I don't want to, you know, turn away from people who need assistance or things like that. But you know, there is a way. Like, for instance, I used to read this one section of the paper, and what that one section of the paper, I finally realized what it was about was all of the really bad things that happened, you know, young high school students that had been hit by cars and killed, or, you know, somebody, you know, a bad break-in into someone's home and somebody injured or killed. And I was like, why am I reading that? I don't even know those people.
Right.
All that's doing is, I mean, it doesn't help anybody that I read that. It's just contaminating my brain with scary, upsetting, negative images.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's
all right. So if it weren't for the considering the girls,
right,
which we're going to talk about next,
exactly. If it
you
weren't
would just
for the children, I probably would trash them because I don't want to remember that anymore. I don't know that she would, if she were in her right mind, she would want me to even think that way anymore. She might be glad that was erased.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I think maybe, I don't know, I might save like one small notebook or a few pages just so that, I don't know, I have sort of this historian's fear of throwing away the past, but most of it, and I have already thrown away some of it for that very reason. Some things that she said that were very hurtful.
So in order to do that, you'll need to go through at least a portion of it. Exactly. And pull out something that you think is representative to keep.
Right. And that's why I'm saying, you know, that's emotionally fraught. And that's probably something that I need assistance with.
Okay.
But what I could do, I suppose, is sort of go through and assess, like by myself. I could go through the boxes and assess them and see if there were some that were emotionally difficult. Mm-hmm. that you and I should go through, because some of them probably aren't anymore. I mean, it's been 7 years, you know, I've adjusted. So probably some of them I can go through by myself without a lot of trauma, you know.
Well, just a couple of other thoughts and or questions about that group, the writings, the papers.
Okay.
If you're clear that you don't want to be really interacting with it any more than is necessary, but you're not certain about whether the girls should have access to it. One thing you could do is ask them.
That's true. I could, except I think I know what they would say.
they would want to see them.
They would not want to, actually.
Oh, okay.
They
and
really,
you're afraid of that.
Maybe they're on the same path as me, where they're just like, Mom, let's just forget all that stuff. You know, like, it's in the past. We can't change it. You know, we're trying to change our, you know, mindsets and our enjoyment of the universe. Let's just don't go there anymore.
And so how does that feel to you if you envision that, if you envision asking the girls and them saying, get rid of it?
Yeah. Well, that's been part of the problem. I mean, that's been part of my processing of, you know, her going is, you know, there's so many sad things, and it's just hard remembering them. And so I don't want to, you know, I don't want to go there anymore.
Okay, so you don't want to go there. You're pretty sure the girls don't want to go there.
Sure they don't either.
And you have many, many life fulfilling and enhancing things that you could do with your time.
Right.
If you're not doing that.
Right. Right.
So is there still some piece of it that feels like you can't let it go?
No, I think, you know, that's the upside, is that, you know, it's been long enough now, like I said, and I've processed it and everything, that I feel pretty good about it. So it's not, you know, like I said, I don't even know if she would want me to hang on to
Right.
it at this point.
Right.
Like, if she was all together in her mind, she might prefer that I never remember her that way.
Right.
And therefore almost want me to destroy it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there are things.
Yeah. Go ahead.
There are things we wish we had never done, and we would like for people not to remember them.
Yeah.
Like, thank you. Please don't remember that about me.
Yeah, and you can choose how to remember your mom.
Exactly.
And
That's
that
what
was
I'm
going to
working on.
be that was going to be my next question or thought. And that is, if there are boxes that you believe represent the very, very best of your mom, and the mom that you want to remember,
right,
then those might be good boxes to begin with, even though they seem easier perhaps.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But they're where you want to be
Mm-hmm.
emotionally now in your life and
Mm-hmm.
in your relationship with your mom and with your girls.
Right.
So I would say that if you have a box that represents something that you loved about your mom.
Yeah, the creativity and the joyfulness. I mean, she was sometimes like a small kid. Like, if you gave her a present, she would be like a little kid. She would just, her whole face would light up with delight, you know? So there are some beautiful things, and that's what I'm trying to focus on. She loved to travel. She loved to be creative. And so that's what I'm trying to do, is save her the things that she created, you know, because there are some, you know, she used to do a lot of needlework and things like that. So I'm trying to save the things that she created. But I really do appreciate you talking to me about my mom's papers and stuff, because I think that's one of the things that I was really having trouble. I guess what I'm trying to say is I've crystallized my ideas better about whether I want to keep them or not, because I was really wrestling with that. And I'm not sure I see a benefit to it.
To keeping the
historian in me wants to keep it, but then I'm thinking about all the other parts of me, and I'm just like, why would I want to do that? Why would I want to remember that? Who would want to read it?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
You know, she's not Franz Kafka.
Well, that's a breakthrough.
It is. That's what I'm trying to tell you. We made a real big breakthrough today, as far as I'm concerned, in ordering what to keep and what not to keep.
Yeah.
Not only about my mom, but just sort of about, you know, old things in general that I feel guilty about getting rid of.
Right. And I'm excited about your strategy of
Me too.
cataloging.
Me too. I think that's going to be helpful, because, you know, it helps me to go in there and look at that stuff and remember what's there, because then it's less scary. Because it's been sitting there as this pile, and I'm just like, oh my God, it's all this stuff from the house.
Yeah.
Isn't that terrible? Anyway.
No.
Well, I enjoyed talking to you.
Yep.
And thank you so much for all the insights.
And do continue to focus on what you've done.
Yes. Thank you.
And every time you walk into that bedroom, I want you to just pause for a moment, maybe not every single time, but try to at least once a day, when you walk into the bedroom, go, look what you did, Susan.
Yeah, I am working on that. Thank you. I'm trying and imagining what my daughters are going to say when they see it.